First and foremost, Quevedo is a farming town. It's surrounded by banana plantations. Chances are, anywhere in the United States, if you pick up a banana and it says Ecuador, it came from Quevedo. And that's what most people do for work. Most of the people that we taught had some connection to the banana industry. They either worked in the banana fields, or they were managers of the banana processing plants, or they worked for a pesticide company that worked for the banana plantations. So pretty much everything in Quevedo revolved around the banana production, which was great for me because I love bananas. The members would just give us huge branches just full of bananas every week, and you could just pick them off and eat them whenever you wanted. It was amazing. As far as Quevedo goes, it is a pretty poor city because most of the people there just kind of work out in the banana fields and they don't make very much. So there's a lot of dirt roads. Most of Quevedo is made up of dirt streets and bamboo houses. Most of the lower class in Ecuador lives in bamboo houses with tin roofs and wooden floors. And that was what I would say the majority of the people there lived in, and if not that, there would be brick houses with cement and tin ceilings. That was pretty typical in Quevedo. Transportation depended on which area you were in. Some areas were small enough that you could get everywhere pretty easily by walking. Other areas you would take buses. We didn't have any bikes anywhere in the mission. It was a bit dangerous for that. But fortunately, everywhere in the mission, and this was especially true in Quevedo because it was a very dangerous city, the people know the missionaries and they don't really bug them. I mean, they have their shady stuff going on, but they don't bother the missionaries. They know us, we know them. We don't bother each other. But we can't have bikes, so in most areas in Quevedo, you just walk everywhere. If it's somewhere that's really distant, you can take a bus, but the busing system isn't super good in Quevedo. It's pretty old, and the routes don't go everywhere. More than anything, it's just a really great place to live because the people there are even more open than they are in Guayaquil, because most people live day to day. They get their paycheck at the end of the day, their $10 or $15, and so they have a lot of faith because they have faith that things will work out, even though they don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. They don't know if there'll be work tomorrow, and that's something that translates really well into the gospel, that kind of faith, something that I learned a lot from. As far as weather goes, it's hot pretty much all year round. The thing with Ecuador, and pretty much anywhere you go on the coast, is there's a wet season and a dry season. There's no cold or warm season because it's always hot. The wet season is from December till around April. And when it's during the wet season, it rains all the time and it pours. I've seen the biggest storms of my life in Ecuador. Rain up to your calves, up to your waist, rainwater. That's the fun time. And when it's not the rainy season, it actually hardly ever rains. When it's like May through November, it's very, very rare to see it rain. But when it is the rainy season, every single night, some afternoons, some mornings, but every single night it pours. Well, if you're in Quevedo, you eat a lot of bananas, obviously, and they have a lot of ways to cook bananas in Ecuador. My favorite were these things called patacones, where they take bananas when they're still green, and they cut them up into pieces that are about that big, and they fry those pieces, and then once they're fried and soft, they crush them, and then they fry them again and put salt and like garlic powder on them, and they are really, really, really good. And they're really common in Ecuador. I ate patacones probably 3 or 4 times a week, especially when I was in Quevedo, because the bananas there are really, really common. And anybody serving in Ecuador or anywhere is probably going to eat patacones at least a couple times a week.